What's going on, YouTube? My name is John. Today is the day. We are going through and ranking every single Call of Duty Zombies map. I've gone through and created a tier ranking for every single Zombies map. And I did a similar thing on Zombros the other day. However, we only did it with Treyarch maps. Today we are going through and doing every single Zombies map from every single developer. This leaves us with a list of about 42 Zombies maps. Everything from IW to Advanced Warfare to Black Ops 4. Now, I should note that when I was making this tier ranking, I had a hard time deciding whether or not to include the Giant on here. And what I ultimately came down to is that I don't know where I would put the Giant in comparison to Deriz. And the maps are similar enough that I am just going to lump them into the category of Deriz. As for a map like Classified, I felt like it was different enough from 5 that I would go ahead and put it in its own category. Now, I should note that this is the definitive tier ranking. What I say here today is law, and everything I say here is a fact. So let's begin. We'll start with Rave in the... or how should we do this? So the way I have it organized is it basically goes like IW to Advanced Warfare to Black Ops 4. So it just goes by games. I don't know. I kind of just want to pick... let's go at random. So let's start with what I think is one of the top tier maps, Mob of the Dead. Mob of the Dead right now is a clear S tier map in my book. That's going up at the top. I should also note that when we rank them within their tiers, the leftmost map is the best map within that tier. So the map over here is the best, the map on this end is the worst within that tier, but every map is better than the maps here. Raven the Redwood, that's going to go like a D tier map. It's not a bad map, but it was like a map that I played like once or twice and was like, yeah, I've had my fill. I never really wanted to go back to, you know what, actually I'm going to throw it in the E tier for now, but that may be subject to change. Let's take now, for example, a map like Transit. Transit in my book, it's an F tier map. I've said this before a million times, but Transit is just poorly designed. I mean, first off, you have areas like Town that don't even have wall weapons. Like, how do you expect a part of your map to be viable and a place where people can play if you don't even have weapons there for them to use? Sure, there's a mystery box spawn, but without that, it's essentially worthless. This map is unfinished. We've even had people like Jason Blundell go on there and say, on the podcast and say, we just didn't have enough time to make it. Transit is an incomplete map. It's terrible. It completely neglects the solo player. It has a wonder weapon that's absolutely useless. Sure, it can be fun to dick around on every so often, but it's not a good map. It's going to my F tier right now. Alright, let's now take a map like Die Rise. Now, Die Rise is a map that I've been campaigning for a while now to get remastered. But I will admit, it's not a great map. There are things about Die Rise that limit it. One, the elevators take forever. If you find yourself at the bottom of Die Rise, you're kind of stuck there. And that really is like a bottleneck for this map. And that's what holds it back from being an A tier and an S tier map. But I absolutely love the verticality. I love the way Die Rise moves the player. It's going to be a B tier for me. All right, let's now go... let's go... Ascension. Ascension to me just feels like a map that could do no wrong. It's not perfect. It's a little bit too easy, and I think that's what holds it back from going to an S tier. But it's one of those maps that I think everybody can just pick up and play and have a good time. It's also one of the first maps to introduce a real Easter egg quest / Easter egg hunting. Sure, Deriz was really the first Easter egg, but this was the one where it was like we were actually following a quest. And maybe a little bit of nostalgia puts it in that A tier, but I don't know. I really like it. Let's now go with, let's go a little World War II. This one might be controversial. Where is my boy? Where is it? I gotta find it. It's in this list somewhere. Shoot. It's in here. Here it is. The Final Reich. A tier map. This one might be controversial, but I think of all the World War II Zombies maps, this is one of the best, and it's because of the notebook. The way the notebook guides you through the Easter egg. I remember playing this map for the first time and going through the notebook side of the Easter egg, and it felt like I was on a journey the music would change, the atmosphere, the lighting as you entered different steps. I didn't feel like I was wandering around aimlessly. There was something to do as I followed this quest. It felt like I was actually on an adventure in Zombies. I loved it, and it's something I can do in almost every game. It gives me something to do. I think the Final Reich is the crown jewel of World War II Zombies. I think the map design is really great. I think the aesthetics are perfect. It's a great map. Next, let's add another S tier. DE. DE is the fan favorite of Black Ops 3. It's no Mob of the Dead. I think Mob of the Dead just has too much going for it between the afterlife, the story, the characters, the Easter egg. Mob of the Dead's perfect. DE, though, another solid addition to Black Ops 3. I mean, the bows are fantastic. The map design is fun. You can camp. You can train. DE's a great map. It's no Mob of the Dead, but it's good. Let's now go with Zombies in Spaceland. Let's go B tier. It's a good map. I think B tier, and it may be pushing that A tier. We're going to have to see how this tier list evolves. But Zombies in Spaceland, to me, is one of the best IW Zombies maps. It's fun. I love just, like, it doesn't take itself too seriously. We have zombies in an 80s theme park. You have David Hasselhoff in there. And sure, it sounds ridiculous, but sometimes we just get some really gritty Zombies maps like the Final Reich. And it's just like Zombies in Spaceland. It's a breath. It's a breath of fresh air. You gotta really appreciate that, and for what it is. This one might be controversial, but Shadows of Evil, D tier, just doesn't do it for me. I don't know. Something about this map never grabbed me. It never inspired me to play zombies all that much. It was just meh. I don't know. I was never a huge fan of Shadows of Evil. I'm throwing it into D tier. One of the most overrated maps of all time, Origins. I'm putting it behind Die Rise and Zombies in Spaceland. This one's going to give me some flack. I remember I made a whole video talking about how I don't like Origins. People shit on me for that. Origins, I'm almost tempted to throw it in the C tier, but for now we'll keep it a B tier map. This map, it's just meh. I don't know. I don't love Origins. Everybody else does. I think it's a little too big. I think it's a little too tedious at times. I know Easter egg speedrunners love this map to death. I know people like it because they know it like the back of their hand and they know all the little tricks and ins and out. But for me, just not feeling it. Next map, Revelations. We're putting this... It's definitely above Raven. We'll put it a D tier. Revelations is like Clip Show, the Zombies map. It's like, yeah, if Zombies was a clip show, it would be Revelations. It's like, remember Shangri-La? Remember Knocked? I mean, it had Knocked for like the 4th or 5th goddamn time. I'm tired of seeing Knocked in my Zombies maps. I don't know. It was fun for the first week. You're like, oh man, I'm in Verrückt again. Oh man, I'm in Shangri-La. Oh man, we're back in DE. Oh wait, if I want to play DE, I can just open up DE because it's in the same goddamn game. This was just a clip show or a teaser for Zombie Chronicles. Revelations to me just does not do it. Don't enjoy that map. Ancient Evil. This is a tough one. Right now I'm leaning A tier. Maybe top of B tier. It's definitely better than Zombies in Spaceland. I don't know if it's better than Die Rise. That's tough to say. Die Rise is going above Zombies in Spaceland. Ancient Evil, this could either fall or this could rise. Actually, I don't ever see it reaching S tier. It's a good map. It's one of the better maps, especially in Black Ops 3 or Black Ops 4. It's a little too new to say definitively. I almost want to, we'll throw it in the B tier for now, just because it's like, give it time. Let it age for about a month. Even let it age for a year. I mean, some of these maps took a long time to grow on me. Like, Revelations was great the first month, and then I just got completely bored of it. Like, I think if I had made this tier ranking right after Revelations dropped, it'd be a lot higher. So Ancient Evil is going to need time to mature, but right now it feels like a solid map that could either become an A tier with time or become a C tier, just depending on how it grows on us. Another controversial pick, Infection. We're going to throw this above Origins. I made a whole 30-minute rant explaining why I love Infection, and I remember it was a response to JC, who was just destroying this map, and I'm like, I don't know, it's just fun. I like Infection. I like all the different challenges. I like how it forces you to adapt your play style when gas enters areas or gives you something to do. You got escort missions. Sure, things like the EMZs are kind of annoying, but they're in every Exo Zombies map. I think Infection was a lot of fun. I personally really enjoy Exo Zombies. Let's start filling out this C tier right here. C tier to me are the maps that I would just consider average. They're not amazing maps, but they're not bad maps either. These are maps that are good. You know, like, would I play them all the time? Probably not, but they're good. Solid C tier map would be something I'd say like Garad Crovey. JC's going to fight me on this one like he'll probably fight me on Infection, but it's a good map. It's a solid map, but it's not like, nothing to me jumps out about Garad Crovey. Like, I don't sit here and go, oh man, Garad Crovey was amazing. I loved it to death. One of the things I think Garad Crovey did really poorly was work with its setting. Like, you're in the Battle of Stalingrad, and I don't know, there was nothing in this map that felt iconically Russian or iconically Stalingrad. Granted, I can't really say what exists in the city of Stalingrad or Volgograd, but I lost the sense of a wartime map when you had dragons and mechs. And sure, the dragons were fun, and I absolutely love when you're defending the Pack-a-Punch area. I think that's one of the greatest sequences we've ever had in Zombies. So these C-tier maps are maps that I can say have like good things about them and bad things about them that balance it out. One of the maps I've never played, Shaolin Shuffle. And I remember I was very busy at the time the map came out, and I'm just like, everybody's trashing this map, so I'm not even going to bother. So actually, fun fact, I've never played Shaolin Shuffle. For that reason, it's going at the bottom of the F tier. I don't plan on ever really playing it. Another map that I think is good / bad, Buried. We're going to put this one behind Garad Crovey. Now, you might remember I made a video discussing how Buried was genius. And I think Buried really is a smart map in the sense that it rewards players who are knowledgeable about the map. There's so much you can do, so many little tricks. I've made a ton of videos on just jumps and spots in this map, as if I'm like an old school multiplayer YouTuber. There are a lot of cool strafes jumps in this map that you can pull off that reward smart players, but the ultimate hindrance to this map is that it's too easy. Hell, I have a video on my channel of me getting to round 50 by literally just sitting in a corner and tapping the paralyzer. There's things this map did right by rewarding smart players, but there's things this map did wrong by being a little too easy. Moon, I'm going to throw Moon in the D tier. Moon loves to kick you when you're down, and I just get so frustrated playing this map sometimes. I don't play Moon and have fun. The Easter egg, to me, I think is one of the high points in all of Zombies. I know somebody like Reed will fight me on this because he hates the Moon ending. Moon was ambitious. Moon at the time, when it first dropped, was incredible. But I honestly hate coming back to Moon because no other map loves to kick you when you're down than Moon. We're going to take a map like 5. It's going to go in the... See, this is where tier rankings get tough, because it's clearly way better than Raven the Redwood, but I don't know if I'm ready to make that leap and put it in the D tier. 5 is just like, Like, you'll see, I'm going to take Classified, and I'm going to put, where's Classified? Gotta exist somewhere. Here we go. Classified, B tier map. You know, Classified is great. It's going above Zombies in Spaceland, behind Die Rise. This is where Classified's going. Classified, to me, I love it. It took the concept of 5 and made it remastered, you know, for in the actual sense of, like, they've mastered 5. 5 is bland. There aren't many features to it. It's poorly designed. I don't like the way it's laid out. The teleporters, the way they're random, is incredibly frustrating. Once you get a couple good weapons, the Pentagon Thief is completely neutralized. The traps are in completely useless locations. The downstairs feels kind of useless sometimes. Whereas Classified, I think it takes the concept of 5 and makes it really good. You know, I love the incorporation of No Man's Land. I like that the teleporters actually tell you where you're going. There's a miniature quest. You have a reward for reaching round 150. One of the first times high round players have actually ever been truly rewarded. Classified, in my book, is a fantastic map. It's a solid B tier, whereas 5 is an E tier. They exist on opposite ends of the spectrum. Groston House. C tier map. I think Grossen House takes the concept of a tiny zombies map and executes it really well. It's a map that I see people actually get to really high rounds on, and I'm blown away by. I think it takes a certain level of skill to do well in Grossen House. Like there's small zombies maps that can be done really poorly. Like play a bunch of just custom zombies maps that are literally just box maps, and they're pretty crappy. But this map was cool. I also love the fact that it was introduced in almost a campaign style / miniature cutscene. It worked with the World War II zombie storyline, and it was fun. And it wasn't just like you were in a room with nothing to work with. You actually had stuff like the mystery box. You had the perks. You had also little miniature Easter eggs. So I appreciate Grossen House. I think it's a really good execution of the small map idea. In contrast, let's take another small map, Kino Der Toten. I think one of the most overrated maps in all of Zombies. Sure, it's the first Zombies map, so there aren't really that many features. I think adding Mule Kick to it was one of the dumbest things. Like, why the hell do I want Mule Kick when I don't have any other perks? It's kind of fun to play in Black Ops 3 when you break it with Gobblegums, but I'm not really considering that in this video. It's just like Noct. You'll play it for like 15-20 minutes, I feel like most games of Noct, unless you're like really serious about getting to a high round on Noct, end after 10 to 15 minutes, because you're going to get to around 10 or 15 or so and then just end up dying. Noct isn't a map that I can sit down and play for like 2 hours. It's a map that I play for like 10 minutes. People might fight me and disagree on that one, but Noct is just going in the E tier right there. Let's go with Dead of the Night. Dead of the Night's a D tier, going behind Revelations. This map suffers from being needlessly complicated. To build the shield, you have like 9 different locations you need to check. To build the silver bullets, you have like 20 different locations you need to check. To build a pack-a-punch, you have to go on a whole quest. It's needlessly complicated, and I know it's not hard. It doesn't take much skill to do, but it's just annoying. I can't sit down and play a game of Dead of the Night without having a Reddit guide open to help me with all the different spawns, because there are just so many and I forget them. You have to play Dead of the Night a lot to get good at Dead of the Night. It's not a map that you can go like 3 or 4 months without playing and just jump right in. Because you're going to get into Dead of the Night and be like, fuck, these vampires are annoying. Let me grab the shield. And then you forget where all the shield parts are. And then you're like, okay, I've got the shield. Now I got to go deal with this werewolf. I'm like, well, the werewolf's a bullet sponge, so let me get the silver bullets. And the silver bullets take forever to craft because there's like 20 different locations. It just feels like I'm just doing chores. And then by the time I finally have everything, I'm just like exhausted. I'm like, oh, fuck. I don't know. Dead of the Night's not fun. It's just a chore to me. Shangri-La, one of my favorite maps of all time. It's not an A tier map, or it's not an S tier map, but it's an A tier map. I know a lot of people, they either love Shangri-La or they hate Shangri-La. And I feel like with Shangri-La, it's just like something about having zombies in a bright jungle is fun to me. Zombies are always so dark that I appreciate a nice, happy atmosphere, if you can call it happy. The Baby Maker is one of the best wonder weapons we've ever seen in Zombies. I like how it challenges players if it's a difficult map to get to a high round on. You also have some pretty creative camping strategies like the bridge, where you get 2 players looking on opposite ends of the bridge. I think that adds for an interesting dynamic, especially when you meet in the middle, because at that point you're kind of fucked. But Shangri-La, to me, one of my favorite maps of all time. I absolutely love that map. 9, another great map. I'm right now going to put it ahead of Ancient Evil, just because, again, Ancient Evil is so new. It's going to take a while for this map to really mature and see where we actually feel about it. But 9, I think, no other map has better atmosphere than 9. The crowd absolutely sells this map. I'm actually, I'm going to throw this towards the end of A tier, put it closer to Ancient Evil. But, oh man, it's just a great map. 9, I absolutely love. Shinonuma, kind of forgettable to me. It's not forgettable in the sense that, it's a classic, it's an original Zombies map. But, I don't know. The gimmick of the moving perks kind of gets old after a while, because I'm just like, alright, give me my goddamn perks now, please. There isn't that much going on, really. You got the Wonder Waff. Shinonuma, to me, it's a C tier map. It's not a good map, it's not a bad map. Next on the list, Verrückt. I'm going to say the best map in World War II Zombies. That's going to go right there. I think one of the greatest things Treyarch ever did was split the team. You spawn in the game, and you have half the team on one side, half the team on the other, and they reunite when you turn on the power. I think this map is really fun. It's a challenge. It's one of the more difficult maps to play. If you notice, I like harder maps than easier maps, but I don't like maps that are needlessly complicated. Varrock, to me, is a lot of fun. I'm always on edge when I play. You have some areas where really skilled trainers can succeed, and you also have some areas where you can also camp. I think Varrock is great. It also, kind of like Gross and House, takes that concept of simplicity and does really well with it. Attack of the Radioactive Thing, another F tier map. Or, nah, it's going to go E tier with Rave in the Redwood. One of the things I can't stand about Attack of the Radioactive Thing is just the muted colors. I get it's going for an aesthetic of that 50s feel, but God, I just hate the look of this map. It feels so amateur. I feel like I'm playing a custom map with how muted everything is. Played it like 5 or 6 times, and it just never grabbed me. I mean, sure, I don't like IW Zombies that much to begin with, but it's going lower on the list. Kino Der Toten, my first Zombies map of all time. It's going to be top of the B tier right now. Kino, it's basic. There really isn't that much going on, and I have to ask myself, if Kino was my first ever Zombies map, would I actually love it that much? I don't really know. I don't think so, exactly. I mean, the Thunder Gun is fantastic. I prefer the Black Ops 1 version to the Black Ops 3. Something about the Black Ops 3 just seems a little too gaudy for me, especially like for an abandoned Nazi theater. But it's a good map. It's a fun map. It's one of those ones you can just jump on and play. I think most Zombies fans, when they think of Zombies, they think of Kino Der Toten, because I think that's most people's first map. So I'm going to put it in the B tier. Zetsubo no Shima. I'm going to put it above Garad Krovi. I'm actually going to move my C tier a little bit like this. Zed is one of those maps that it does a lot of really good new things. It incorporates things like the spider boss fight. The first time we ever had a miniature boss fight in our Zombies map. It's a map that rewards smart players. You have all the different recipes you can do with the plants and the water. You have the skull of Nonstop Wii, all the different challenges. This map has so much going on and so much going for it. It was kind of hindered, at launch with bugs, but it's just a fun map to play with all the new features. I feel like you can go in there, and sure, you kind of need a guide because you might forget a couple things, but I don't mind because you have some cool features and some really great rewards. I mean, the skull of Nonstop Wii is just fantastic. I think the Wonder Weapon upgrade needs to be a little bit more intuitive. I don't mind the Pack-a-Punch quest at all. Some people think it's a little too tedious, but to me, I like it because it just felt clever. Something about it felt smart. I liked it. The Frozen Dawn, another map I also haven't played. For that reason, I have played the Frozen Dawn. I was thinking of the Tortured Path. The Tortured Path, another map I haven't played. I was on the Zombros European Tour as this map came out, so I never got to play the Tortured Path. Never got around to it. I'm going to put it in the F tier. Beast from Beyond, also going in the E tier. I kind of like what they did with the cryptids. I think it was a smart move for IW. This is definitely actually going above Raven the White Redwoods and Attack of the Radioactive Things. But it was a little too annoying, the cryptids. Like, they got old fast. They were a real pain in the ass in the early rounds. It was just like, it was cool for like an hour and then just very quickly forgettable. Blood of the Dead. I have a hard time placing Blood of the Dead. I'm going to put this in the C tier. Above GK. Above Bear. It's going to go top of C tier right now. Here's the thing about Blood of the Dead. It takes one of the greatest maps of all time and then doesn't really do much with it. I think one of the best features Mob of the Dead has going for it is the Afterlife, just because it's the only map that features Afterlife. They completely disregard that in Blood of the Dead, and I know it would have been difficult to work into the story, but God, you had such a great feature in Mob of the Dead, and then you don't add it to Blood of the Dead. Also, the new areas are kind of pointless. You have Richtofen's lab, you have the area by like where you have like the kind of like that workshop area when you first spawn in. You have the catwalk. The catwalk scene's incredible, but once it's over, it's over. And like, you never have a reason to go back to those areas besides maybe the one perk machine and the occasional Pack-a-Punch or mystery box spawn. They're just kind of there. You end up just playing Mob of the Dead, really. Like, they add all these new areas, but they don't incorporate them well into the map, so it just kind of feels like a wasted effort. Now, the Frozen Dawn. Frozen Dawn, one of the things I love is when you actually enter Thule. I'm going to put this in D below Shadows of Evil. I think it was a mediocre ending to the World War II zombie saga. Like, it didn't really feel all that impressive. I think the God King is one of the most generic names you can ever have for a final zombies boss. Yeah, that's going D tier for me. Nuketown. Nuketown's fun. It's a C tier map. I'll put it below Groston House and Shino and all that stuff. It's just kind of like the perks. I feel the same way about the perks in Nuketown as I do in Shino Numa, where it's just like, all right, just give me my perks already. I'm tired of waiting for them to fall down. I've played this map a lot. I have way too much time in Nuketown because I remember I was at one point in my life just dedicated and hell-bent on getting to round 50 on Nuketown, and it took me fucking forever. It's small. It's a little too small, but it's okay. Descent, I think the worst World War II zombies map. We're going to put that in the E tier right there. Carrier, I think Carrier is a good map. I'm putting Carrier. Let's put it here. Here's what I like about Carrier. I think the teleporting zombies were cool. I think Plinko is one of the best things to ever be out of the zombies. Plinko fucking rocks. I love the Limbo Wonder Weapon. I think that's just one of the most creative and fun wonder weapons we've ever seen. Carrier, it's not a great map. I think the bomb defusal rounds are okay. It just, to me, it was just like, I don't know, something about this map just like scratched me in the right spot. You know, I'm like, okay, I kind of fuck with this Limbo weapon, and I really fuck with Plinko. So Carrier's going in the C tier right there. Outbreak, another C tier map. We'll put this one here, right there, like that. It was a good. I think it was a good foray into Exo Zombies. Didn't do anything too outrageous. Like, it introduced the Cell 3, which was, I think, first time I think we ever had a shotgun wonder weapon, although that ended up being used in most Exo Zombies maps. Yeah, it was like, here's the issue with Exo Zombies. You have the exosuits which add a level of verticality to zombies, which we've never seen before, but then never use it. And so I think that's an area where Outbreak kind of went wrong. Like, sure, you were able to jump onto the bus, but other than that, there wasn't that much you can jump onto. I think, like, it felt like a regular zombies map just with exosuits, and that's where Exo Zombies went wrong to me. They never really truly embraced the exosuit aspect of zombies, which is what could have set it apart. The Shadowed Throne, another C tier map. We're going to put this one ahead of GK, and here's why. Both these maps are set in battles. Garad Krovi, I don't feel like I'm in Stalingrad, whereas the Shadowed Throne, in a way, I do. I feel like I'm in a city that's ravaged by zombies. One of the things that was most gripping the first time when I played this map was I'd walk into areas and there would be people being devoured alive by zombies. You'd hear them screaming. You'd see them on the ground as the zombies attack them, and then when we're done, they ran off. I think that was one of the coolest things. I love the sequence when you're in the blimp actually like fighting the zombies, and then that's where the boss fight is. I think it was one of the best things. You had the scene where, what's his name? Oh, God, I forget the name of the Nazi scientist in that map, but when he gets killed by his own zombies, this map does a lot of things right, and I think it's the best way to do a wartime map. You know, it grounded itself in it, and sure, it had some outrageous things like the blimps and stuff that you wouldn't actually see in the Battle of Berlin, but it was cool. It was kind of limited in things you can do once you kind of did all the things you were kind of done in that map, so it never really felt like something I would play for hours. But I just love the atmosphere and the aesthetics. Another thing I wish it had, I wish it had a little bit more of Berlin to it. Not many things in it felt very iconic to Berlin. It could have kind of been placed in any generic city, but it definitely felt like a city in the midst of wartime. Call of the Dead. I have a hard time placing Call of the Dead. This is probably going to be a C tier map. We'll put it above the Shadowed Throne. Call of the Dead, first ever solo Easter egg. Best reward to an Easter egg ever. You have the Wonder Waff that you get in every game after. You know what? It's going top of C tier right there. Do I want it remastered before Die Rise? No, Die Rise better get remastered first. But Call of the Dead's a solid map. The wonder weapon is kind of lacking. You know, you have the sniper, and it should be better in the later rounds, but it's not. You do have the Vril device, which is great, but only useful in co-op. I think that was cool having an insta-kill weapon, but beyond that, it just wasn't that great. Fog is a little bit annoying. George Romero, sure, he's difficult to kill and a bit of a bullet sponge, but the fact that I get a Wonder Waff and a free perk out of it makes it all worth it. That's how you do a bullet sponge right. Like, one of the things I think that really right now kills Ancient Evil is that you have a bullet sponge in the zombie boss, and sometimes you don't even get a drop from him. Deriz, this one's going to piss people off. I'm going to put it B tier. I think some people put it in the A and the D tier, but I'm going to throw this as a B tier map right now and say, you know, it's a good map. It wasn't my first map. You know, I think people who played Deriz on the onset of Zombies love this map. And it did a lot of cool things and really took Zombies to the next level. It introduced the story, the Pack-a-Punch. So much came from Deriz. You know, it really laid the groundwork for what Zombies could become. I've played this map a lot too. This was also one of those maps that I was hell-bent on getting to round 52, and it took me a long time to do. It's a good map. The Darkest Shore. This map's just bland. I thought it was cool that it introduced a boss fight that wasn't actually a boss fight, but really just like a challenge, you know, like survive this onslaught of rounds. But this map just feels empty to me. It feels rushed. It's not very good. Finally, our last map, Voyage of Despair. One of the best looking Black Ops 4 Zombies maps. They did a really good job recreating the Titanic. We're going to make this a C tier map right here. I'd say I love the Wonder Weapon in this map. I actually really do enjoy it. But it just feels like a maze to me sometimes. I hate navigating this map, especially with all the different corridors and stuff. I think they could have done a better job of streamlining the layout and making it more intuitive. That's what holds it back. The Pack-a-Punch spots are also absolutely useless sometimes. Like, there's really only one viable Pack-a-Punch spot mid-round, which is when it's on that one end of the ship. Like, when it's deep in the bowels of the ship or underwater, good luck Pack-a-Punching. You're not going to be able to. Wait till the round's over. This, though, ladies and gentlemen, is my definitive tier ranking of the Zombies maps. You have in the S tier, Mob of the Dead and DE. A tier, Shangri-La, Varuk, The Final Reich, Ascension, and 9. B tier, Kino, Deriz, Ancient Evil, Die Rise, Classified Zombies in Spaceland, Infection, and Origins. C tier, Call of the Dead, Blood of the Dead, ZNS, Buried, Shadow Throne, GK, Carrier, Shinonuma, Voyage, Groston House, Outbreak, and Nuketown. D tier, Moon, Shadows, Frozen Dawn, Revelations, Darkest Shore, Dead of the Night. E tier, Knocked, 5, Descent, Beast, Rave, Attack. Finally, in the F tier, Transit, The Tortured Path, and Shaolin Shuffle. This, ladies and gentlemen, has been my definitive ranking of all the Zombies maps from every developer. This list is facts.